Welcome back, everybody, to Scale Success Reptile Podcast. So, it is the first podcast of the year, and I am honored and glad to say that we have USARK Florida on for the first podcast of the year. What a great way to start the new year, right? And I just want to say, like I said, thank you, everybody, for the support I got last year in 2023 with starting the YouTube channel and this podcast for everybody that came out and supported that. And I just want to say thank you again. Quick update on what's going on in the world in the last since our last podcast is we have our reptiles, all our Western hognose is coming out of brumation yesterday and today. So our 2024 season's about to start. And then we have in about 3 weeks, we have the Reptilian Nation in West Palm Beach at the South Florida Fairgrounds. We're going to also be eventing that. So if you guys are in the area, make sure you go check it out. I believe it's February 3rd and 4th within those dates. Other than that, that's pretty much it for us. Other than like I said, starting the breeding season. But we're definitely going to have some good conversations, some good topics tonight with USARK Florida. And we have actually Chris from Sea Serpent and Elizabeth, the president of USARK. So make sure you guys have any questions for them, any questions about any legislations that have been fighting against in the last couple of years, make sure you drop a comment and we'll ask them and see if we can get any clarifications on it. Other than that, you know what? Let's not hold up the night any longer, and let's bring out the guest for tonight. There we go. It's lagging a little bit. Let's get this. Let me see, guys. There we go. So I just want to warn everybody. We are in South Florida area, and we've been having storms all day, so we might have a little bit of connection issues, but bear with us. And like I said, make sure if you have any questions, especially if you're in the Florida resident, make sure you ask your questions for us tonight. Chris, Elizabeth, thank you for taking your time today. I know you are both very busy, and with your own careers and your businesses along with USARK. So thank you again for being here tonight.
Thank you for having us.
Absolutely. Thank you.
Yeah. So for people that don't know you, maybe any of the new viewers or people that aren't familiar with the with USARK and yourselves, can you guys take a quick intro and how you tie into the reptile community and what's your role at USARK Florida?
Okay, so I'll take the
Chris,
first.
or you want me to?
I'll start it first, no problem. Hey everybody, my name's Chris from a company called Sea Serpents. I own a company called Sea Serpents Rack Systems and Hotbox Incubators. We actually build rack systems and some of the best incubators on the market. We're based down here in South Florida. Privileged to have Avaro as one of my customers and now a friend. I'm also a proud board member of USARK Florida. We got an amazing team. They brought me on a couple of years ago. I'm kind of more the out in your face and talk to people and let people know what's going on, try and raise money, all fun stuff like that. That's kind of my job, which I really enjoy because I really enjoy people. A lot of you, some of you know me, know that I'm a people person. So they brought me on to do that and really loving it. And like I said, we got a great team and we have the best leader going, which is Elizabeth.
He's awesome. We do have an amazing team. I have to agree with Chris 100%. We have such a wide variety. My name is Elizabeth Wisniewski. I am the president of USARK Florida. I also own Family Reptiles and I own Family Martial Arts. And I've been on the floor teaching martial arts for the last several hours. So I'm a little bit tired and a little bit sweaty, but that's okay. Been a fun day. My heart and passion is about education and conservation. And that's how I got dragged into USARK Florida. I was, of course, just a board member at the time, and then challenges came around with a bunch, and somehow I got voted in as president. I don't know how that exactly happened, Chris. But we had a lot of fun, and Our role, particularly in Florida, is to protect your rights. And we're not only about educating and conservation in the state of Florida, but also for the reptile keeper and pet owners in general. We're here to help you, we're here to guide you, and we're here to try to protect you and your rights, not only for our generation, but for future generations to come.
Evening. Okay, there we go. We got you back.
There you go. I'm sorry. I hear it's pouring outside, so I hope my service is okay.
Yeah, it's coming in and out, but you know, we'll make it work.
Just part of life. That's all. Everybody will work through it.
Mm-hmm.
The bad storm. We're in the middle of it.
Yeah, yeah. So, Elizabeth, how long have you been working with USARK?
USARK Florida got established back in 2020. So we have been I've been actively involved from the beginning.
Okay. Oh, great, great. And how about yourself, Chris?
I think I've been on about 3 years now. It was 3 years ago, I think, the Daytona show when they brought me on board.
Okay. Yeah. So if you guys have been to the Daytona show, viewers, if you have been to the Daytona show, Chris is always up on the stage, you know, helping auction stuff off. And one big thing I got to give a shout out to Chris. He always, you know, puts out some good items for auction to help the USARK funds. So Daytona is one of the biggest fundraising events, right? Am I
Yes.
wrong, Elizabeth?
Yes, absolutely. It's one of our larger ones. And we're very gracious. USARK National Phil Goss definitely comes in and runs that show with us. We kind of team up with him. And it was before us, it was all given 100% to USARK. And then since we've established in the state of Florida, because we are pretty much, we're it here. This is where all the problems start. And we've kind of developed it to kind of take a little pressure off of Phil. But don't kid yourself. He is with us 100% every step of the way. We talk continually. He's just as much a part of the board, even though he's not an official board member. We definitely respect his thoughts and his opinions as we vote on different items. But getting back to Daytona, he has been gracious enough, and he gives us a large percentage of that, almost everything every year. So that those funds do go to USARK Florida to fight for your rights.
So just to let everybody know too, because some people still don't know, USARK, which is the national, and USARK Florida are technically two separate entities, but we work very closely together. We help each other out. We do some co-marketing. Like I said, Phil Goss helps us out on both sides. So we are definitely two different entities, but we work together trying to, you know, whether it's in Florida or across the nation, trying to fight for everybody's rights. And so we can do this, and so our kids can keep doing it.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
The monies you donate to Florida stay in Florida. They do not go to the national. But like Chris was saying, it is two different entities altogether.
No, that's a great point, because I especially if we have viewers from, you know, across the U.S. or maybe even out of the country, there's probably a lot of people that don't know that there's a USARK Florida chapter, basically. So one interesting part is too, like, I'm pretty newer into like the deep reptile community. I've always liked reptiles since younger and kept here and there, but now probably like over the 3 years, I really dove deep into the reptile. Can you guys still? There we go.
There you go.
There.
One thing before 3 years ago or so, I wasn't even aware about USARK National or even USARK Florida. So what do you think maybe is the best way to be able to get maybe more of the single reptile owner, the pet reptile owner, to be able to get the information that USARK provides to them, or to become even members?
Well, they can always go on either website to sign up, and we have different membership levels, which helps out a lot. What really gets our word out and our message out is anytime we can get on a stage or a podcast or whatever we need to do, we go to, we travel to shows. The entire board will sometimes go to different shows on our own dime just to get there, make sure we're present, talk to people, and educate everybody on what we do and what we are about. So any little bit of information we can get out there anyway, we will do our best, and we constantly try and just get our message out there so we can keep doing this.
And Elizabeth, I think I jumped the gun a little bit, but for like I said, for the viewers that aren't familiar with USARK and their mission statement, can you give us a quick overview of what USARK Florida does and like the primary objective of it?
Again, just like I was saying earlier, our objective is to educate for future generations. It's a conservation and also to protect the rights. And like Chris said, you can go to our website. You can find out all the hot topics that are going on. You can also follow us on Facebook and other social media aspects. We have an Instagram page also. So if anything is happening in Florida, like we do have some things going on right now, you would be able to follow us on any of those social media or on our website, and everything is posted there so you can see what is happening.
Okay, great. Yeah, guys, if you haven't, in the description of this video, I do have USARK's link tree posted, as well as every video I post on YouTube, the link to USARK Florida and USARK National. So even if you don't live in Florida, take the moment and go get a membership. USARK Florida even has a free membership, correct? If I'm not wrong, right?
Yes,
Correct.
we do. There's free membership. And that free membership is beneficial to you because when there's a lot of things going on, if there's something that's very, very important, we try not to flood people's emails and only use it when need be, but we send out emails so everybody can be aware of, especially legislative changes or rules that are coming down that are very important that we need to get involved with. So it's important to be a member. That does help you tremendously.
And what I like to
It's our link to be able to communicate with you.
Yeah. What I like to say too and tell people is just because it's happening in Florida, not in your state, doesn't mean it can't affect you. So Florida is kind of like ground zero for what's going on in the reptile industry. So we need to spread the support around, whether even if you don't live in Florida and you want to come to Daytona, if you want to come down here, we're going to need a little help because, you know, we don't want to have Daytona go by the wayside. So we got to constantly fight. And this way, if we fight, that means the rest of the country will fight for us too. So we all got to work together.
Mm-hmm.
I agree, right? The old saying, there's strength in numbers, right? If
100%.
bigger our roster is, especially for USARK,
Right.
when USARK goes in front of any legislators or any government entities, and we have a large roster of people backing us, then it's easier to, you know, prove a point. Correct?
That is correct.
Yeah. So Elizabeth, is there any specific legislations that we're fighting against right now that you want to bring up to attention to the viewers?
There is a Senate going on. I'm sorry, it's a House bill going on right now. The Senate companion bill does not have the prohibited species part of it, but it's very dangerous, and you guys need to really take a look at it. Sam Kilbrew is out of Winter Haven, and he is the one presenting it currently. And it's oh goodness, Chris, I just lost my marbles. But the Senate bill actually brings back in the prohibited species that we fought and won in court last year, and we got it kicked out, and now it's coming back. But the scary part about it is, instead of saying iguana with the green iguana, it's all iguana species would be prohibited. So every iguana, meaning, you know, your rhinos, your spiny, everything, all of them would be included if this bill goes through. So we would have to go back and start refighting that in a lawsuit that we've already won once and we prevailed in. We would have to go back to ground zero. So it's very important that everyone does get involved. The other part of this bill, no cats and dogs will be sold in the state of Florida in pet shops anymore. So this is very serious. So we're hoping that with enough calls and information getting out there that we can get this stopped before it gets out of control. Now, we do not have dates that it's going to be presented in session yet, but we encourage each of you to contact your senator, contact your representative, even if it's not the one directly affecting this bill yet, let your voices be heard, because you are a constituent in the state of Florida. You elect that senator, you elect your House of Representatives, you are a voter. Get on there, call them, let them know this may not be your bill, but I am totally against it, because you don't know who's going to be on those committees moving forth in session. It may be your senator or your House of Representative that's going to vote this through. So we've got to let our voices be heard. And if you don't want to make a call and you don't, some people are like, I don't want to call, I don't feel comfortable with calling, send an email. Flood their emails. Let them know, because there's going to be a point, if this keeps through, we're going to have to even get to the governor's office, and we're going to have to start fighting this again. And we'll be up there like we did last time. We'll be in the House of Representatives. We'll be knocking on doors and telling people, hey, this is a business killer, and this is going to eliminate us from having all these animals as pets. This is dangerous.
This is going to eliminate all that we do, pet shops in general, just for even common stuff, So it's not what's happening now, which is still an issue, but it's what it can lead to, and that's what we're trying to stop.
Correct.
Exactly.
And you know what's the scary part? That and not say the worrisome part and stuff we got to be vigilant for is that this is right now targeting cats and dogs, which is generally not the target, right? And I believe if this does happen,
Yep.
He's frozen. There he is.
Good.
There we go. And
Gonna be one of those nights, boys and girls, but we'll get through it.
Yeah, right? Well, it's the
No
weather
worries.
in Florida. We're having.
all right. Now there we go. Okay.
So yeah, it's what it can lead to is what is the scary part.
Correct. Yeah, I think it's part of being proactive, and that's what I was going to ask too. Is like, myself as a reptile keeper and breeder, what would you recommend for us to be proactive against these legislations, and what else can we do to help support USARK other than just a membership or a donation?
Well, and your donations do help, because remember, your donations, as we're hiring lawyers and we're hiring lobbyists and we're doing all that, that is very important for us. But again, your voices are even more important. We understand, but definitely send those emails, make those phone calls, and help us spread the word. I mean, we talked about that when we started this. How do we get the word out? Getting in front of everybody, this is so important. But you know what? Good old-fashioned, just spreading the word, calling your friend. Somebody that's a reptile keeper, call them and say, hey, do you know what's going on? Have you heard about this? This is important. Help us help you. That's the best thing I can tell you right now.
Yeah, the podcast and everything's great, but like just good old-fashioned people interaction. It shows your friends. Every little bit helps, like Elizabeth said, the donations help, but a lot of it's just word of mouth and communication and information for people. And a lot of people decide, oh no, it's not going to help. It's not going to have anything to do with me. Yes, it will. If you can say, when you see the dog and cats on there, then people are really going to start looking up and saying, all right, this is not going to be fun. We have to fight this now, not later, now.
Correct.
I agree. Yeah,
and we have it. If you go to our website, it's all posted there. You can actually read the proposed bill. It is linked on our website. So if you go to USARKFlorida.com, you will be able to see that and be able to read that firsthand. Read the language yourself. You don't have to just listen to us. I tell everybody all the time, don't just take my impression. Go read it yourself. I think he's froze again.
There we go.
Hey, so we're all smiling. It'll be just fine too.
Yeah. So that's what I did earlier today. I downloaded the actual proposal from the government website. and read through it. And that's like it's said, like you said, Elizabeth, we need to be able to do our own research as well. Yes, we have
Mhm.
USARK Florida and we have USARK National that helps us come to the attention of certain things before it may become in front of us. But once we do hear about that, we shouldn't just sit around and wait for USARK to tell us, okay, do this now, do this. Be proactive, do the research. Like
Mhm.
Elizabeth, contact your senators, your representatives, all that stuff. And don't ever stop, because I think if we let down and we have any if we give them any space, then they'll be able to take more ground from us.
The more we let up, the farther we're going to go.
And people,
Yeah.
I think everybody doesn't understand just how important role everybody has in this. I mean, people will go, well, if I make a phone call, who cares? Or if I send one email, it's only me. Who's going to listen? But
Mhm.
if everybody feels that way, then nothing's going to happen. But let's say it's not just that one person, but let's say it's 1,000 people. There you go, right there. That's what I was looking up. Let's say it's 1,000 people, and there's 1,000 of us that go, wow, this is scary. This is a scary bill. There it is, HB 1033.
There we go.
We need to look that up. You need to read it. And then you need to call and say, I am concerned about this. Let your voice be heard. Take that 5 minutes, guys. That's all it takes. And again, send an email. If you don't want to call, if you don't want to talk, that's fine.
Yep.
But that's a
And
scary band. Let me tell you, if you read through this language, it is scary.
yeah. And for everybody, like you said, guys can go to usark.org and you can read the bills, the link to the bills right here on their website. And as well, there's contact info to the senator and the Capitol office. So they've already laid out a lot of the contact information for us. So just do the legwork basically for at this point. And then to join USARK, I'm going to show everybody here. There's a free membership, individual memberships, and it's really inexpensive to be able to join USARK as well. And as Elizabeth and Chris said, the money that from our memberships helps them a lot, and it's necessary for them to be able to run the day-to-day operations at USARK.
Like a lot of people say, we can't afford it. I said, you can't afford not to help out, because for a few dollars to help now, otherwise you're going to be going and then you're not going to be making any money or be able to enjoy anything. So that's one of the biggest things too. People look at it, and we understand times are hard. People have to feed their families. We totally get that. Every little bit helps. Every little bit.
I agree.
I told somebody the other day, I said, it froze. I was talking to somebody the other day and I said, if everyone did $5 a month, let's say there was 1,000 people that did $5 a month, that's $5,000. Do you know what we can do with that? And, it's not just fighting the laws and all this stuff that you're seeing. It's not just that. What about the conservation efforts we can do? What about protecting these animals and getting them out of the state so they're not euthanized? There's so many that we can do that we want to do. And with that, just a couple dollars, it makes a big difference. It really does.
And Elizabeth, you touched on a good point, and I want to bring it up. It's, not just about fighting legislations that we got to deal with, but is USARK involved in conservation as well? If they are, can you tell us a little bit about that?
Believe it or not, we are. In fact, I applied, actually the board, not I, the board and I applied for a grant, and we're looking at the Sanibel Island project, back terrapins down there. And we are looking to donate to them here in the next couple of months. So we're looking into stuff there too. We are looking at different conservation. We also support conservation through Croc Fest. We're at all the Croc Fest and help raising money for the different species of crocodiles that they raise money for. We also go down and supported Iguana Fest. Yep. For just different events down there. So we are doing conservation and we are raising money for conservation also. That is very important, I think, to each board member.
That's great. That's great. Okay, there we go.
It's the weather, guys. We're
Yeah.
also, the other thing we're doing with education, just so you guys know, that we're at most all Florida shows. We try to have people come out to the Florida shows. So we have a booth set up and we sell the t-shirts for us, but we also have information that is going on. Like there's a Lakeland show this weekend. So we'll have a flyer made out with all these items coming up and different things that we've done in the past. And so we're out there educating and communicating with the public on a regular basis also.
Okay. And correct me if I'm wrong, but a lot of those tables are manned by volunteers at these, especially the
This
smaller
is
shows.
absolutely correct. All the tables are, if they're not a board member, it's a volunteer, 100%.
Yeah, our volunteers are incredible. We have a lot of them that show up to
Amazing.
the commission hearings and stuff like that, meetings, and help show support, help us. And just like all of us on the board, we're all on our own dime when it comes to that, because the board takes zero money to do anything like that. We all go on our own because that's what we do. We want to leave as much money in the coffers as possible for the, to fight the legislation. So, I've traveled to Gainesville, Tallahassee, Pensacola. I've been all around the state, and I'm taking the time out of my day and just to go and do that. But that's what we need to do. It's just, I'd like to do it. And I appreciate all the volunteers are definitely incredible. We couldn't do it without the volunteers.
The entire board is volunteers, to be honest.
True.
We're all volunteers. We don't get paid a dime. Actually, I think we pay to be a part of this, don't we, Chris?
Yeah, it costs us, but you know what? It's money well spent. I have no problem. I'll do it every single time.
That's great to
We're
hear.
investing into the future.
Yes,
for sure. And if somebody wants to get involved in simple thing as helping out at a show and giving out information, how can they go about doing that?
Contact us, send us an email. Jordan Spring is the one that, God love her, she's amazing. She heads up making sure there's people at shows. She's got a full Facebook page and a group that she's able to communicate through everybody, and she does a great job at organizing. So just communicate with us. We'll hit you up and we'll give her your information, and I promise you we'll find something for you to do.
You guys heard it. If you guys want to support USARK and have the time, make sure to contact them. I'm pretty sure through Instagram, email, whichever, right?
Yeah, Facebook, Instagram, email. Heck, call me. Most everybody has our phone number, so if not, just hit us up. We'll definitely give you a contact.
Perfect. And I want to bring up a good topic. It's responsible reptile keeping. Is there any good points or what's it called? Experience that you have with with us reptile keepers being responsible with the animal? There we go. All right, we're all back now. That and against any species that could possibly become evasive or any issues in Florida, and just one less problem that we will have to fight, or one less issue that we can give them to get at us for.
One thing I could say is, don't give them a reason to ban and not let us have this stuff. Don't try and be a responsible keeper, caging, equipment, husbandry, all that stuff, because any little black mark on us goes to the legislatures and the senators and the House and everything like that, and it looks bad on us. So a lot of it is from the ground up. Obviously not letting your pets go, which is it's not as big of an issue as they made it seem. A lot of these issues have been here for years. They're holding us responsible for it now, which in our opinion obviously is not doing any good. It's only doing harm. But yeah, it's all about just not giving them a reason to not let us have what we want.
I agree with Chris. I mean, a lot of the problems that we're facing are definitely not our problems. We're just dealing with issues of the past. I mean, it is what it is to move forward, but do the right thing. Everybody knows the right thing to do. Don't set your pets free. Find somebody. If you can't find anybody, contact us.
We'll
We
find
will
somebody.
give you an avenue. We'll find somebody. We'll do something. Um, I get, and Chris is right. Just do the right stuff. We all know what's right or wrong.
Yeah. I mean, the problem we're having too sometimes is one bad incident on us goes all across the media and they blow it up out of proportion and look at this. And, there's so much misinformation out there. It is incredible. You've seen it online where they post 10-foot boa constrictor and they show a 2-foot ball python. You just look and go, that's not even
Correct.
close. And the people reporting it have zero clue. But the thing is, snakes and other exotic pets make great media attention. And the problem that we're running into is the 1%ers. 99% of reptile keepers are legit, on board, good people. But obviously, just like in any industry, any group, any business, there are the bad actors. And we want to weed them out because they make it harder for us to do what we want to do.
I agree. I was in the military, and one of our biggest things was police your own, right? If you see something that from another reptile keeper or somebody that's all right, there you go.
There you go.
And
before I forget, thank you for your service very much.
oh, my pleasure, my pleasure. And
Absolutely. Thank you for your service.
thank you. And then sometimes it might be just a part of lack of education, and
Houston, we have a technical issue.
yeah, we do.
It's
Amara, can you hear me when you're locked up like that?
I can, yeah. Can you
Okay,
guys hear me?
so it's just, well, you freeze up we hear you now, but when you freeze up, your whole video freezes up.
Okay, but
Yes.
how about the audio?
No.
Everything
No.
freezes.
Okay.
Yeah, everything
Okay.
freezes.
Everything. Okay.
But like I said, education is one of the biggest things with these people, and information that these people need to know.
And
Yeah,
that's what
so
we're working on, especially at Reptile Expos. Some of our volunteers are out there. We've actually created like, what is this animal? And then on the back of it tells about what it requires, how long it's going to live. So if parents or any individual comes up and they're questioning different things, it's kind of like a little game that some of our volunteers play. It's just, hey, what is this animal? What do you know about it? So people kind of have an understanding of what they're getting into. Like people will come in and they'll buy a baby cicada. And they're like, oh, isn't it cute? And they think they're going to keep it in this little 10-gallon house for the rest of their life, and you're like, no, it's going to get the size of a tire. It's going to be massive. I have a perfect example. I was at a show and I was talking to a dad and he had 2 little girls and he was talking about getting his daughters a snake. They each wanted one. Nobody talking about what the setups were going to require, the feeding schedule, the heating, the whole 9 yards. And dad says, I don't want anything that's going to get too big. And we're talking about a ball python. He was like, they might get a little bit big for my liking, though. Maybe I should go with something a little smaller. So, well, we talked about different things that would be smaller and pros and cons. Comes back about an hour later and he has 2 red-tailed boas. And I'm like, okay, you decide to go bigger. He goes, oh, no, it's not going to get any bigger than about 2 foot. I said, it's already 18 inches and it's probably about 2 months old. It's going to get a little bit bigger than that. And I had a big girl and I had a big picture. I had a picture of me holding her at one point. And she was, oh my gosh, she was probably 10, 12 foot long. She lived so long. She was beautiful. And I said, this is my baby. And I had her out and he goes, what is that? An anaconda? And I said, no, it's a red-tailed boa. That's what you just bought. And he literally screamed at me. And I'm like, listen, I've been trying to tell you about smaller animals, we're talking, hognose, sand boas. If you want something small, you went to a boa. So sometimes people give a perception indicating that the vendor that did it maliciously did anything wrong, but sometimes our perception that we portray to people isn't exactly accurate as it should be. So we're really trying hard to educate at shows so that people understand what they are getting into, and our volunteers are phenomenal about helping educate.
That's great. I think that's where it starts. I personally have done also some education at my daughter's middle school with the hog nose, and they actually have a animal care club, and they're actually within the next week or so, I'm gonna donate a hog nose to their program, and and
Oh,
it's very interesting to seeing like the fear of people also with reptiles, and that once you give them information, how that quickly changes.
Yeah, so a lot of people just have sometimes that innate fear, and they don't even know why they have it. And then sometimes when you educate them the right way and teach them how to handle it and teach them what they're about, it could change their whole perception of reptiles in general. So it's nice to be able to educate, especially kids. Sometimes adults are harder to teach than kids because kids are way more curious. Adults are a lot more set in their ways, unfortunately. But I've had people where I've educated them, throughout their time, and it's worked really well. And they've had snakes and gone on to have a lot of fun with them and enjoy them.
That's great.
well, and the problem is too, the media and the movies, what sells? It sells a fear factor. So if I see a cute little ball python all snuggled up, that's not going to sell news media. That's not going to get anybody's attention. That, oh my gosh. And so that's what they're trying to do. So unfortunately, adults have been raised that snakes are scary. They're going to eat us. They're going to strangle us. They're going to kill us. And
Yeah.
Chris, you're 100%.
How many people do we all
Yeah.
know, being in the industry, where people have this fear of a small, like even like you said, a little hog nose, it's going to eat me. The common sense is just, it's funny. It's funny. It's a shame because they literally think that, but it's really not even, it's not, there's no common sense to it when you look at it, but they have that fear, and we'd like to try and get them away from that fear if at all possible.
Or
Yeah.
like it's going to eat my dog. And they have a
Yeah.
Labrador.
Yeah. I experienced that, and I was telling one of our friends because we did the Aquashella in Daytona this past year, and there was a handful of reptile people there. It was mostly fish and saltwater equipment and stuff like that. And one of the biggest things that we had was we had people coming down the aisle our table was at, seeing snakes and turning around, walking away. And what I was telling my friend it was that I was like, we're actually a little what's called spoiled at reptile shows because everybody there is expecting to see a reptile. Where maybe sometimes we forget about how many people still have a fear and the misinformation about reptiles out there.
Yeah. It's unbelievable. You have no idea until you really get out there and talk to people. It's it's mind-boggling how many people are truly afraid. Even if you get a bearded dragon out, they're like, "Oh my gosh, that's a lizard." And I'm like, "It's a bearded dragon. It is a lizard, but it's okay." You
Yeah.
see the baby over there? He's 2 and he's holding it. Okay, you're gonna be all right.
Yeah, that's my favorite thing. Like, having that child that's interested in reptiles at shows, and having that parent that's still afraid but brings them to a reptile show. I'll get my
Right?
my 8-year-old now. She'll grab one of the hog noses out of the displays and bring it up, and like their faces are like, "Oh my god, that little girl's picking up that that in their mind huge snake," and it's just
Yeah.
Yeah, it's just funny. We've
Oh
seen it through
goodness.
the years. I've had snakes since I was 8 years old. I am 53 now. And I've seen it through the years and been explaining to people and educating people. And hey, it's going to get this big. It's going to do this. I'm like, no, it's not. You're misinformed. And just try and do my best to educate them with the most up to date and information that I can give them.
Um, Another thing too was, not just educating the general public, but some of the agencies that we're having to work with. One being FWC. How does that work with USARK and FWC? Working together, or at least trying to work together.
I'm sorry, you broke up. Is FWC and USARK Florida trying to work together? Was that the question?
Correct. Yeah. How's the approach to that? Trying to maybe even educate them on some of the species and the reptile community.
I think I will say under new leadership, the executive director, Roger Young, did come out to Daytona and he did spend the entire day. I introduced him to a lot of the industry and people of Florida that were here. So he took a lot of time taking notes and meeting people and opened his eyes to our industry after he took his position. We are very optimistic about a future of working together under his current leadership. So we will see. Again, we're optimistic and realistic and wait to see what the future holds. But there has been much communication and better communication under current leadership. Absolutely.
That's great news, because I think that that's going to be one of the success stories of if we're able to build a good working relationship with FWC, is going to definitely help us with any of the legislations or any regulations that they're thinking about putting out there.
Well,
And
we
then
have Eugene on our board, Eugene Bissett. I don't know if you're aware of who he is, but we always like to tell stories about back in the olden days. And it's back in the olden days when, Eugene and Michael Cole and a lot of these guys would go up, and Mark Bell would go up to Tallahassee and they would go to FWC and they would work things out and they would talk to them. And back in the olden days, that's the way it was. And the older generation referred to FWC as my FWC. It was never FWC, it was my FWC. So there was that communication, there was that relationship. And in any good relationship, the key is communication. And that doesn't mean that's not just specifically FWC and USARK Florida, but that's any relationship you have, whether it's personal, business, or anything else. So we are working currently on better communication, with a very optimistic goal of getting back to those days. Now, will it happen? We're trying. I will tell you that there's been a tremendous amount of effort on our side and the executive directors. But again, seeing as see where this all takes place and where it ends up, I am optimistic. I think the entire board is optimistic, but we'll see what happens.
Yeah. So
We're
going back to Roger Young, he is. Say that again. Oops, sorry about that. So yes, Elizabeth is right. The new leadership has been way more open to communication than the previous one. Like I said, we're not going to get everything we want. They're not going to get everything they want, but we have to work together. And that's what we're trying to promote with them, and common sense legislation. We're not against legislation. We want common sense legislation. Two totally different things.
We're not from regulation. We don't want legislation.
Yeah, but it's going to have, but we got to find a happy medium where, these politicians are just ramming stuff down our throat because they have no idea. So we need to take that out of them, educate them, and then work together instead of fighting. Let's work together. Let's just do the best we can.
And it shouldn't be in legislation. I mean, our
correct.
rules should not be in legislation. And this is where it gets into a very slippery slope, because remember, if it becomes legislation and becomes a bill and the bill becomes a law, anyone can enforce it. So, for example, why we had to fight so hard for the last time this went through is that law, your local law enforcement officer that doggone good well does not know the difference between a hog nose and an anaconda, could come in because somebody said you had an anaconda in your house, and start confiscating animals and pressing charges, and you have nothing. They have no background, they have no education. So any law can be enforced by any law enforcement officer, whether they're educated or not in law enforcement. And that's where the slippery slope is. So it needs to stay a regulation within Department of Ag if it has to do with their animals. If it's FWC, if it has to do with their animals. It should not be a law that any law enforcement officer can enforce. That's a serious issue for all parties concerned.
I want to address something, or just real quick. So I want to address one of the comments. David from DSC Reptiles, his first comment was to tell them that they are wasting their time and wasting our resources on something that was resolved and agreed and given. Yeah, we've been trying that. We appreciate you're 100% right. Educating them is the best thing, and that's where more recently we've gotten more communication with them, and that helps educate them. So that is a huge thing, David. So we appreciate that comment 100%.
Yeah, I can tell you that we are working on education. We are working on that communication. We're even trying to get biologists involved on both sides. So it's been very tricky, but we are working. I promise you that, guys. We are spending a tremendous amount of time and effort trying to build that communication. And like I've told the FWC staff, it's not just our opinions we're going off of, because everybody has an opinion. But through these last few years of fighting and educating, we have hired some of the best biologists for invasive species. Rick Ingerman, he's wrote tremendous amount of papers. So he has been a biologist that we've referred to a lot. We've hired a out of Washington, D.C., and they did full economic studies for us. So it's not just, USARK Florida Board's opinion. We are utilizing those funds, and we are hiring people to make sure that we're all on the same page and we're doing what's best for the industry and giving FWC true facts, not just our opinions.
Yes. And one thing people have to realize, nothing in government works fast. Everything takes time, has to go through certain channels, meetings, discussions, all that stuff. So, because a lot of people ask me, hey, what's happening with this? What's happening with that? I said, trust me, we're trying, we're doing our best. It's just that, everything has to go through the chain of command. So unfortunately, sometimes things take way longer than they really should, but it's just what happens with government, unfortunately.
I just brought up the comments, and somebody asked over here about the Colorado USARK National, the blue, the red logo over there, the red and blue. Please contact them. Phil will be able to get back with you on that. We are unfortunately in Florida. I don't know the Colorado regulations out there.
Yes, as we mentioned earlier, so tonight we have USARK Florida president and Chris, part of the board, and so USARK National, it will have to deal with anything out of Florida. So definitely contact Phil and their website. Because in Colorado, there's you have to have there's a permit for hognose, and it's a very strict permit. You have to jump through a lot of hoops to just be able to have hognose in Colorado.
And that's just one snake in one state. That has nothing to do with it. There's 48 other states that have to do with this stuff, and we're fighting, and that's why it's a group effort from every front.
I agree.
Absolutely.
There we go. All right. So I was gonna say, we usually run the podcast longer, but since we're having some technical issues today, we're gonna try to keep it at an hour. And I just want to again thank you guys for taking your time. Any closing thoughts? Any last words you want to leave our viewers with?
I'm just Oh, go ahead, Elizabeth. I'm sorry.
I do. Get involved, guys. This is your industry. This is your pets. We can't do it alone. We need you. So get involved. I mean, one way or another. I mean, come see us at the shows. Come see us at the, come up and say hi at the table. It follow us. Follow us on Facebook. Follow us on Instagram. Not because we want the numbers, but we want to inform you as to what's going on. If you're not in Florida, follow USARK. Follow National. Get involved. Keep yourself informed. You want to know what to do? You want to know what's going on? Educate yourself. Take the initiative. Get involved. We need you. We love you. And we love this industry. We love these pets. I don't do this because I'm bored. I promise you. I run 2 different businesses and I breed my own animals. I have animals. Those are my pets behind me. I have an addiction. I love them all. But that's okay.
It's a passion.
Do something. It is. I love them. I'm surprised my bearded dragon's gone to sleep or he'd be laying on my shoulder. I've had him for like 15 years. He's ridiculous. But get involved. Get involved. Don't expect it just to happen. Don't expect somebody to do it for you. We're going to keep fighting. I promise you, I'm not stopping. Get involved. Join. Follow. Do something. Something is better than nothing.
See, Elizabeth's she goes about it the nice way. Here's my thing. People get off your ass. For lack of a better term, that's what we need to do, because a lot of people are burying their head in the sand. It's not going to affect me. I'm in another state. It doesn't matter. It's going to affect everybody. Everybody's got to help each other out. Talk to people. Talk to your senators. Talk to your congressman. Everything you can do. Some of it, donate money. A little bit of everything. Donate time. Donate animals to auctions that benefit us. There's so many different ways that everybody can help, and it's not all about the money. A lot of it is just about organic. Talk about things, let your friends know, and let's do this. We're fighting. We're going to keep fighting till we're dead at one point for the most part, but you guys got to step up. We all need help. And it's just, like I said, it's not about money. Some of it's time, donations, everything like that. Whatever you can do, please step it up and let's go, so we can do this for a long time to come.
Great.
And no amount is too small. If you have $5 that you can do a month, thank you very much. We appreciate it.
That's $5 more than we had last month, and we're very grateful for that.
Amen to that.
Yeah, for sure. And like I said, if you, for some reason you can't afford the paid membership today, go ahead and at least get the free membership. One other person on their roster is a big help to them. My last question for you is, what's your next biggest fundraising event that you have?
The next one will be the Tampa auction. We also do an online auction every quarter too, but the next one will be in February at the Tampa Repticon, and we'll have an auction that night.
And I will be there. I should be there, and I'll probably have a couple drinks too, just to let you know.
And you can also buy a T-shirt. We have T-shirts online.
Great. Okay, I'm back. Yeah. So if you guys are in that area, make sure to go check out the USARK table at the show, and stay around for the auction after. Get a shirt, get some stickers. And again, thank you, Chris and Elizabeth, for being here tonight and spreading the word and all the hard work you guys.
Couldn't go without freezing up.
Right?
It's been entertaining.
Oh.
Dude, thank you so much for having us, because just this little bit, if we get one more donation or one more person to sign up for the free, or one more person to talk to somebody else, that could lead to many more people.
Absolutely.
Okay, am I back now, guys?
You're here.
All right.
He's going to go down swinging. I love it.
Oh, good Lord. Bless his
subscribe
heart.
to the channel. Hit the like button, and we'll see you guys on the 4th Tuesday this month with another episode. Good night, everybody. Chris and Elizabeth, stay real quick once we end the live. Good night, everybody.
You got it. Thanks, guys.